It sticks, everyone. Welcome to the Captain Avalanche Fancast, your unofficial source for all things Colorado Avalanche hockey and more from a fan perspective, hosted by me, Captain Avalanche Corey, and he's about to go shark hunting, Dom. Now, we're no insiders. We're not inside the locker room face-to-face with our favorite players, but we hope to create a relatable and welcoming environment because we're just like all of you listening. Fans. Fans with a deep passion for the game of hockey, and in this case, the Colorado Avalanche. I had to do everything in my power to not scream rapid obscenities because Winnipeg scored while I was reading that. Thankfully not to tie the game, but equally annoying nonetheless, so awesome, I guess. Anyways, we are... And it was Mark Scheifele again. He's the only person on their team who I think can score against the Avs, him and Kyle Connor. We are forgetful, to say the least, but isn't everyone... Feels like there's always so much to talk about, whether it has to do with our teams or not, that we often forget important things that we need to discuss. Today, we'll try and remember. Or, we'll try and remember those things. What are those things? Well, that's what we're trying to remember. Two gaps have widened since we were last with you. The distance between the Avalanche and the Stars, thankfully, and not thankfully, the distance between the Sharks and the second wildcard spot. Speaking of, don't look now, but the team inhabiting the second wildcard spot is the Nashville Predators? Also, thank you to our new followers both on Instagram and especially Spotify. We very much appreciate you, and if you like what we're doing here and you keep coming back and, excuse me, haven't hit follow or subscribe, why not? It would mean a lot to us if you did, and it would mean a lot if you could tell even just one friend about our little show. Thanks, everyone. We would.
Yeah, thank you, everyone.
Go ahead.
Thank you, everyone who listens, who joins. My friend, I saw the box score change like half a second before you started, and I just went silent here, covering my mouth because I was like gasping internally. I'm sorry to hear about the timing on that. But so good to be back talking again. A day late than normal again, but you know, we're sorry for being forgetful, being behind, and just glad to be here talking and have all of you here able to listen again.
Yes, I want to clarify, we did not forget to record the podcast. We know, just sometimes schedules and wires get a little crossed, and that was the situation here. So we're back, and we hope you're ready for more of what we have to say. But first, we would, here on the Captain Avalanche Fancast, like to take a moment to recognize a fellow member of hockey media, Jessie Pierce. Jessie tragically passed away along with her 3 children in a house fire in Minnesota. This news is incredibly gutting and a tragic hit to the hockey community. While we personally did not know Jessie here, the stories and wonderful things that have come from all corners about her cannot be understated. She was incredibly well loved and respected within her community and the Minnesota Wild organization. Her presence and everything she brought to hockey and the world around her will be missed. There is a GoFundMe page for her family to raise money after losing their home and, of course, the irreplaceable thing of a mother, a wife, daughter, and friend. It will be linked in the description of this episode. Please donate if you are able, or at least do as we have and spread the word to others. They are close to closing in on their goal, and I know it would mean the world if you could join teams like the Columbus Blue Jackets and Minnesota Wild, as well as the many individuals who've already donated to help them get to that goal.
Yeah, it's an absolute tragedy and just a reminder to be grateful and appreciate the time each of us have to appreciate hockey and to be kind, to take a moment to be kind and thoughtful to others. Remember that's much more than a game. The game brings us all together, but there's so much more. So our condolences go out to all remaining members of the family and everyone in that community. And we do encourage you to support in whichever way you can, even if it is just by taking a few moments of prayer or whatever it is that you practice to acknowledge and wish the best upon them.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Dom. Now then, we will be moving forward into our normal news pieces for the evening. But like I said, just wanted to take a moment to recognize that it is incredibly, obviously sad, heartbreaking. But we here at the Captain Avalanche Fancast always want to remember, I think, the positivity and the positive impact that someone brought to the game of hockey. So please, if you knew Jessie or you've heard about this, remember her, I think, in fondness and in positivity rather than in sadness. Now then, to somehow segue from that, Jack Hughes is a bum. You heard it right, and I meant it. Jack Hughes loses more fanfare from me on a daily basis. But that's just my opinion. If you don't care, great. Feel free to skip ahead to the next section, or feel free to listen to me ramble. But Jack Hughes has truly shown us what happens when hockey players choose to ignore their media training. Sometimes you get gems like Ilya Bryzgalov or Joe Thornton. Then other times, you get Jack Hughes. But what did he say this time? Well, Jack was, shall we say, rather displeased that his golden goal puck, the one that brought history to the USA Olympic teams, was in the Hockey Hall of Fame and not on his daddy's private shelf. His exact words via ESPN were, quote, "I'm trying to get it. Like, that's bullshit that the Hockey Hall of Fame has it, in my opinion. Why would they have that puck?" Hughes said. "I don't see why Megan Keller or I shouldn't have those pucks." Close quote. Yeah, why would that stupid Hockey Hall of Fame keep such a historic object in the history of hockey? Jack then backpedaled again on a later interview saying, quote, "It's like the most special place in hockey. So yeah, I'm honored that it's there. Obviously, things were taken crazy this week. That's just the way I felt." Close quote. Remember, everyone, it's not that Jack said anything fucking stupid. It's that we're taking it wrong. Of course, Captain Canada and fellow golden goal scorer Sidney Crosby was asked, that's what I'm missing there, was asked about his golden goal puck going into the Hall, to which he replied via Bleacher Report, "I didn't even think about it that way. To be honest with you," close quote. Crosby told the Athletic's Devon Henderson, quote, "I was just happy that I scored the goal. I was happy that the puck was going to the Hall of Fame. I didn't even think about it that way," close quote. Crosby also donated his stick and gloves to go along with the puck to be forever preserved. Those are the facts. In my opinion, if Jack Hughes had at least asked nicely, I would have been a bit more partial to say, hey, maybe he should have it. But he asked like a spoiled child. But regardless, a puck like that, as Indiana Jones would say, belongs in a museum, because that puck is a part of a grand sweep of the greatest accomplishment in American hockey history. And the Hall of Fame, it will be immortalized and remembered forever rather than just gathering dust in his father's personal collection. Everyone who visits can feel a connection to that story and accomplishment, but with how he's gone about it, it feels like an incredibly selfish tantrum. As Phil Pritchard said, quote, "Unfortunately, in the easiest words, it was never Jack's puck to own," close quote. And if you don't know who Phil Pritchard is, he is the keeper of the cup, the personal guardian and escort to the Stanley Cup. To be honest, in my opinion, Jack has something better that is his own. A fucking gold medal!
Yeah, childish. You said a lot of the words that I was thinking in there. It's childish. It's immature. It's a heat of the moment thing. You can tell ever since this goal, and his coach has talked about it, that he has been bolstered. He's demanding more from his teammates. He's being a little bit more of an ego out there on the ice, and that's going to happen when you get the confidence build of getting a golden goal. However, it doesn't excuse it either. And the only other thing I could add is the unnecessary tone of nationalism I sensed in it personally, because he seemed in the initial comments to me frustrated that it's in the Hockey Hall of Fame being in Canada and not at a minimum in the US, which is just so stupid. That's so stupid to me. It's unnecessary. When we're talking childish, it's like, okay, is it not enough that you beat Canada? Do you need the puck to live in the US and not in Canada? Like, come on, what are we doing here, Jack? So it makes no sense. I'm the biggest rooting for Team USA hockey ever, right? We've covered this, but even I am like, come on, man, this is stupid. Put it in the Hall of Fame, put it in the museum like you did there, quoting Indiana Jones. And yeah, it was never his. You hit it into the net. Your stick touched it for all of a couple seconds in that one moment of the game. Whoop-de-doo. Everybody else's stick hit it too. And they change out multiple pucks in the game, right? We talked about that in a fun fact. So that just so happened to be the puck on the ice at that moment in time, and you hit it. Wow. It's not suddenly yours. And also, even if you felt like it was, again, going back to the children thing, learn how to share your toys, Jack.
Yeah, it's well, first of all, like, sorry that the Hall is in Toronto. I don't know what to tell you at that point. Like, that's just where it is. But it's also like, yeah, the Hall is in Canada because, technically speaking, that's where hockey is considered to be founded. So just a silly thing in that. Ooh, sorry, panicking. That's a silly thing to say in that regard. But it's also like, not all fucking mummies are in the museum in Cairo. You know what I mean? In Egypt, there are mummies all around fucking museums all over the world. So why should it just be exclusively here in America? It's just the silly thing to say for me. So we wanted to mention it last week that we think Jack Hughes is stupid. that's really all I wanted to say. So yeah, that's just how I feel. I think it's silly. And I think, of course, you see Sidney Crosby, maximum decorum at all times. And I mean, yeah, I get it from the perspective of it's a massive achievement in your career. But to me, that is a team thing. That's a team thing where it's like, yeah, when Ovi scored the all-time goals record, yeah, that's an individual achievement that was still obviously accomplished with the help of teammates. But at the same time, that's more of an individual achievement, whereas scoring the golden goal, that's the culmination of the whole team's efforts to get to that point. So it's not your puck. Not to mention that when it's the IOC, they're not going to let you have that shit. The Olympics are very stringent on those things.
Yeah, I mean, definitely with the IOC, it's not like it's just an NHL puck like you're saying there, Corey. And yeah, I mean, no, not really much more to add there. I think we've kind of covered it. I do hope this is an opportunity for him to learn and mature.
He just needs to stop talking. Let's be so real. Like, yeah, please just stop talking.
Yeah, exactly. He needs to stop talking, and then eventually, as he gets older and more mature, he'll realize this and he'll speak more eloquently. At least we hope in the future.
Doubt it. Anyway, I feel like there's something we're forgetting.
Huh?
Not related to Jack Hughes at this point, but just as we discussed in our outline for this episode, it just feels like we've been forgetting some notable events or news within the hockey world. I did remember that Jack Hughes continues to dig his proverbial hole deeper and deeper and deeper, but it just feels like there's something else or many something else's. Therefore, I wanted to just take a moment for Dom and I to attempt to recall anything of note within the hockey world before moving forward into our team-focused segments. So, Dom, I'll give you the floor here. Is there anything unrelated to the Avalanche or Sharks that you are remembering that you would like to briefly touch on?
I mean, the one thing that comes to mind is a milestone, but I think you're going to talk about it in your segment, so I'm not going to mention that one. So for me, I just want to reflect on the power ranks of a week ago and just some mistakes I guess I made or we made, because as it turns out, while I sang or poorly attempted to sing Free Fallin' about the Edmonton Oilers, I should have been saying it about the Sharks, who have lost 5 straight games and plummeted right out of playoff contention pretty much. We'll get into that more later. But also the same was true for Los Angeles and Seattle, losing 4 straight. So the Pacific is just doing Pacific things to the most Pacific level possible, apparently. That, like you said, Corey, Nashville is in the wild card 2 spot pretty handily. They got some room to spare. They got a game in hand, and they're only 3 points behind Utah. So suddenly Utah is not looking so safe right now. And I guarantee you the Mammoth would much rather play the Ducks than play the Avs. That's 100% for certain.
That's kind of the situation I've been hearing from everybody, where it's like, well, if Nashville plays the Ducks, their likelihood of winning that series goes up exponentially. I think people are underestimating the Ducks a little bit. I do think that they're a more talented team than they're being given credit for. I think they have had some stumbling blocks here in the early go or throughout this season, just being such a young team, a bit more of an inexperienced core. But I do think the Ducks have a possibility to make some noise here. I really do.
Oh, I agree. I do think the Ducks have possibility to make some noise, but if you had to tell me I have to play against one, I'd rather play against the relative youth and inexperience than the Avalanche.
Yeah, no, I think that's an easy choice for most people at this current moment in time. Because, I wouldn't want to play against the Avalanche either, respectfully.
Yeah, and totally fair. In the East, though, you have Buffalo now tied with Carolina on points to lead the entire East. So what's been brewing for a while has officially happened, that they are tied on points. And how about Ottawa going on a run here? They at least were, they were at least in a playoff spot to start today. I think the Islanders will jump them back here by day's end, having played an extra game to get back into the wild card. But this Eastern race is intense because in the Metro, 88 points gets you second place right now. And a wild card spot is 87 for the last place in the playoffs. So there is no margin for error whatsoever. Montreal have won 3 straight to give themselves a little bit of breathing room as the third team in the Atlantic. But what a wild time to be watching hockey. Great time to be watching Eastern Conference hockey as a neutral. And the West, not so much. But hey, Calgary's winning a bunch of games. That's been fun.
That's kind of insane to me. Tell me if you agree with this. Who is Buffalo playing in the first round right now? Like, who would they be playing?
They would be playing Boston right now.
I take. Oh God, Mom's gonna be mad at me for eating with my or talking with my food in my mouth. I take. You know what? Tell me who you take in that series. Let me finish chewing here.
Oh, Buffalo straight up. No, it's simple. I think I said it last week, but Boston is ass on the road. Even if they force 7 games, they're losing in the first round because they can't play on the road for shit. They have like the best home record in the entire league at 26-10-1, or at least they used to have the best, or maybe it's the most wins at home in the entire league with 26. That's what it was. But on the road, they are 14-14-7. So yeah, I think Buffalo is a pretty slam dunk. I'll take Buffalo in 6 there because they're also pretty solid on the road.
I honestly think Buffalo is a good chance to go very far. I really do. I genuinely think they can make a run at this. And if they do match up against Tampa, that's where I'm like, ooh, I don't know, because I believe in both of those teams. So it's hard for me to necessarily make a full call. I think that for me, if that matchup happens, that's going to be the toughest matchup for me to call. Also, Avs win are now 9 points ahead of the Dallas Stars, who lost again tonight. Let's go, boys. W secured. Well done. We'll get to that later, though. We're talking about Buffalo. But to jump over to something else, RIP, but not really because I don't care. The Vancouver Canucks and the New York Rangers. There are only 2 teams who have clinched, and there are only 2 teams that have been eliminated. And boy, oh boy, both of those make sense.
They do. They're the worst 2 teams in the league on record.
I mean, bad. Only team in the East below 500. My God.
Yeah, and that's below NHL 500. Florida is technically on wins and losses if you don't count the OT loss factor. They are 35-36. Can you believe that? Florida, 2-time defending Cup champions, have more losses than wins this year.
I knew it. I called it at the start of the year. You remember my predictions? I fucking Knew it. I knew the injuries were going to be too much for this team. I called it perfectly. Exactly what ended up happening.
Meanwhile, Anaheim is the only team in the entire Pacific with more wins than losses on the year. It's that bad.
That's
It's
pathetic.
So bad.
That's so pathetic. Connor McDavid assessed it correctly when he said it's a pillow fight.
Yeah, it's a pillow fight, and you would think the Sharks would be winning more, but this is why, and I'll talk about it later, when the sleepover line isn't on the ice, your edge in a pillow fight goes down.
Sorry, hold on. Keep talking.
Oh, you're good. So also interesting, something to watch is Toronto fans want a tank so bad because their pick that they traded to Boston is top 5 protected, but they're not going to get that pick because there are 6 teams in the West alone who are behind them. Actually, wait, no, they're at 75 points now, 7-8. There are 8 teams in the West who are behind them already, not to mention the Rangers, Florida, and New Jersey. Toronto fans, your pick's going to Boston. Just win as many games as possible and make it a bad one for them.
Yeah, I think that's pretty accurate. Let me pull up. Let me pull up. I sent you some like crazy facts, so let me pull those up. Where were those? Those are wild. Oh yeah, here it is. Crazy NHL stats. We'll use this. Since firing GM Kevin Adams, the Sabres have a record of 36-3. That's 30 wins, 6 losses, 3 OT losses. That kind of comes out a little weird, but the Senators have the worst team save percentage since 2000 at .872. I don't know if that's just for their team or across the league, because I would believe that Edmonton has a worse one. Cole Caulfield.
Well, since 2000, so there are you got to go back far enough before you've got a GM change in there, so Edmonton wasn't always this terrible.
Yeah, true. Cole Caulfield has scored 161 career goals. None are empty netters. How? That is insane to me. How do you have no empty netters when you are a pure goal scorer like Caulfield? Like, you're on the top line. You're out there when it's 6-on-5 to try and get the empty netter. How do you have none? Even Ovi has a bunch. The most, in fact.
Yeah, I mean, Cole Caulfield's got a long career ahead of him. I'm sure he'll get more over time, but I think it's also the class act we see from him because I feel like he's had opportunities and he's gone for the extra pass to get the guaranteed empty netter rather than trying to fire it himself. So
fair.
I think that's just some mature play on his part, not trying to get the empty netter for himself, but definitely setting up the best possible opportunity. Oh! Sorry, we are in overtime and just had the best rush chance. And now we're 2-on-1 with just Kiefer Sherwood back. Okay, they fucked up the pass. Sorry.
Well, now I gotta get this game. I gotta get this game. Yeah, I gotta get this turned on so I can kind of monitor in the background here. Cole Caulfield is far and away my favorite, like, non-Avalanche player, like, easily. I love Cole Caulfield, genuinely. He's a good dude, good human, really nice guy, and just absolutely filthy goal scorer. What is not to like about Senior Cole Caulfield? And he's Mr. Saturday Night. His Saturday Night stats, I need to see if I can find those, are insane. But we'll finish up these stats from this post.
Holy crap. Asky, what a save. Yes. Cole Caulfield, he's always smiling, I feel like,
yes,
too.
He is.
Like,
he is.
It reminds me of, like, Celebrini on the bench, right? When they were all there laughing, having a good time early on. Like, you can flip on that stone cold killer mode, but also just be having fun, like when you're a kid playing. And
he
that's
always
just
looks like he's having fun. That's what I love about him. But to finish this up, when Celebrini fails to record a point, the Sharks' record is 1-14-2. We do know this one. The Blue Jackets have a 23-7-5 record since December 22nd. I don't want to read a thing about Nikita Kucherov because Ooga Booga.
Oh, I'm sorry. The Nikita Kucherov one's the most insane one, though. You cannot skip over it.
Nikita Kucherov has 33 goals and 104 points in the last 50 games. That's over 2 points a game. Man is insane. And he's definitely I'm trying to think of like a comparable, but he's definitely like the most sleeper, like god tier player of this generation. Like obviously
Tortoise
everybody.
in the hair.
Well, no. I'm saying it's more like everybody looks to McKinnon and McDavid for like the best players of this generation when you ask people. But same as like if you go back, you would say Gretzky or Lemieux, right? But then it's like, oh, well, who's the sleeper within those generations where people are like, yeah, this guy was kind of underappreciated with like how unbelievably good he was. He was so good, and it's the same with Nikita Kucherov. I'll think of somebody.
Well, I say tortoise in the hair just because he always starts the season slow.
He does.
He was nowhere in the conversation
the
first like quarter of the year, and then he's just come on so strong and never stopped. Nobody was thinking about him, and then poof, he's there.
That's what I
would say
expected.
maybe not to us, but I think sometimes when you play on a team with Sidney Crosby, Geno Malkin could be a guy there who's underappreciated.
Perfect example. So underappreciated, still has like, I think Geno still has like 1,300 points. So I mean, by all means, people don't want to say generational, but Geno Malkin also has 3 Stanley Cups to his name and was pretty filthy back in his prime. So, and I mean, fuck, he's still filthy now. He scored a backhanded snipe on the Avalanche coming out of the fucking penalty box. Don't tell me. So, yeah, crazy stuff for sure. Here's a good one.
Fire.
Schaefer, you're slightly ahead of me, which is funny. So I'm just like, oh. Schaefer is 1 goal away from tying the rookie D-man.
Oh, you're fucking kidding me.
The rookie D-man record, which is 23 goals. The Oilers are 0-10-2 this season when McDavid goes pointless. So, I mean, don't feel too bad, Sharks fans. There's another team who can't win without their superstar doing something. Troy Terry is the only player in the NHL without a hit. I do not know how you do that. That's so depressing. 2 seconds left. Couldn't even make it to the shootout. I'm so sorry. DeBrincat and Kane have the second most combined goals by U.S.-born players at 208. So just a couple little bonus fun facts for you there, everybody. But okay. Anything else that we want to remember?
The fun facts after that. Oh my God. Going top shelf with 2 seconds left in overtime. Brutal.
Why do the Blues keep winning all of a sudden? Aren't they supposed to be tanking?
The Blues, Calgary, like Nashville, these teams were all supposed to be bad, and they were like, if the Pacific doesn't want it, sure, we'll win. Why not? Hofer's been playing insane, though, for the Blues.
Hofer has been insane. He has like a fucking save percentage of 950 since returning from the break. Dude has been out of his mind. Joel Hofer. Like, yeah, okay. When I think of great current goaltenders, Joel Hofer is the name that immediately comes to mind, obviously. Like, what?
Obviously.
Yeah,
and
obviously.
I know this game was in St. Louis, but I think he's won something. I thought I saw a stat where he's won like 10 straight road games that he has started in or something. I don't know for certain, but I could have sworn I saw that. I'd have to try to track it down. But we've done a lot of outside of our teams and fun facts and such. So
that was the point
I want
of
to
the
be mindful
segment.
of the time. Well, yes I just want to be mindful of the time to hear about our Avalanche here.
Hold on. I just want to read the Cole Caulfield Saturday night stats. Where are these?
Oh, yes.
Where are the Cole Caulfield's Mr. Saturday Night? Because he really is. It's actually insane. Here it is. Yeah, this will do. In 20 games played, just this season, Cole Caulfield has 19 goals, 12 assists, and 31 points, all on Saturdays. He is almost guaranteed to score a goal on Saturday. What?
Wow.
How do you do that? What kind of fucking wizard juju black magic do you need to conjure to make that possible? Yeah, I love that dude. So no hate here. And for me, obviously, I want McKinnon to get the Rocket. I don't know if he's going to get the Art Ross at this point. I'd like it if he was able to pull ahead and do it. But if he doesn't, whatever. I would like McKinnon to get the Rocket. I think that would be really cool. McKinnon has deserved the scoring title, but he always gets like fucked up right at the end of the season where Kucherov gets to comfortably pull ahead because McKinnon is like sitting out or he gets injured for a couple games for the playoffs. So I would like McKinnon to be able to get the Rocket. But that being said, if anybody were to take the Rocket away from Nathan McKinnon, it would not make me sad if it was Cole Caulfield. But again, I want McKinnon to get it. Okay.
Yeah, we definitely want McKinnon to get it. Anyway,
Yes.
Now we can move on.
Yes. Avalanche try to win with Gabriel Landeskog. Challenge success. As if by magic, Gabe Landeskog returns fresh from testicle surgery, and the Avs go from a 3-game losing streak to a 4-game winning streak. There is no denying the near mystical sway Gabe Landeskog has over his team and their success. There is arguably not a single more important player to the Avalanche heading into the playoffs than Gabriel Landeskog, but he was not the only one to return. We saw Ross Colton return and the season debut of the mayor of Denver, Logan O'Connor. Too much fanfare. Then tonight, as we record this episode, Artturi Lehkonen made his return to the lineup as well against the Jets. This Avalanche team is nearly complete. Unfortunately, Nick Waugh is now injured, and now has this tail end of the season, or they have this tail end of the season to extend their lead on the Stars, who have thankfully fallen now 9 points back on our boys in Burgundy and Blue, who have correctly taken advantage of our rivals' stumbling blocks. But Jared Bednar now has the opportunity to find the correct chemistry and line combinations heading into the most critical time of the season. And with absurd center depth, which is a luxury the Avalanche have not had in many years, the depth is real this time around. The luxury this also affords them is rest. No, they cannot keep players out of the lineup because, yes, they need to win as many games as possible to keep the Stars at bay. But the amount of quality players in the lineup means you don't have, to rely, or you don't have to keep hammering the top line out there for 25 plus minutes a night. You don't need to rely on Nathan McKinnon and Marty Necas to score all of your goals. You don't need Cale Makar to crush 30 minutes a night. And in fact, Brett Kulak has been an excellent foil to Cale Makar. Kulak, to my knowledge, still has not been on the ice for a 5-on-5 goal against. Nope, that's not true. One did come against Pittsburgh. But the excellent stay-at-home defenseman has been incredibly refreshing and an excellent pickup by Avs management. People roasted us for that trade, and I've already yammered on about how much of a quality addition he has been, but I'm going to keep doing it because he continues to prove it every night.
Yeah, he keeps proving it every night. He adds a different element for the Sharks. Jesus, why am I saying Sharks? He adds a different. Yeah, I do wish he adds a different element for the Avalanche to have a little bit more physicality, size. I do still think the trade, obviously, that of shaking up the defense. It's obviously sad to see your core players go, but you have so much puck moving defense. You have puck shooting defense. Now you have a stay-at-home defenseman who you can trust to stay at home in the playoffs. I saw a video. Who was it? I think it was from TFS on Instagram talking about like the top 5 things you need for the playoffs, and I was like,
it was, yes.
This is such a good point. You do need to have a top-tier stay-at-home defenseman because at some point there's going to be a 2-on-1 opportunity, and you want somebody big who can either block, who will be able to take away the pass, or just get physical and go to the body. And Kulak can do all of those things. So I truly think that was one of the better adds of the deadline. Even with Kadri, even with Waugh, I think that one might be the best ad based on what the Avalanche needed.
Yeah, and I mean, it was what they needed. It was an identifying of where they could improve on the defense. A defense that was already number 1, mind you. But they thought that they could get better, and I think that was true. And so it was nice to see that Chris McFarland didn't take what they had for granted and found a way to, in my opinion, improve it even more. It took a while to get adjusted. The Avs did have some stumbling blocks there where they had a string of games where they were letting in more than I think they're used to. But I think now we're well back on track. Goaltending has solidified once again. Everything's feeling good on the defensive side of the puck, and then that allows the Avalanche to play the game that I think they're familiar with.
Yeah, nothing to add there.
Why not, Dom? You're supposed to. No, I'm just kidding. Don't look now. I'm going to say this very quietly so they don't hear me. But the Avalanche's power play is not. Oh my God, I had a typo. That's so funny. Is not totally ass anymore. Now, it isn't like a Dallas or Edmonton power play where when the first unit gets out there, you think they're going to score. But when you see the Avs top unit, you no longer think, well, we are doing shit, to we can or could score, which is a lot better than where we were. And the shorthanded opportunities are beginning to fade away. We still have an utterly ass power play opportunity on occasion still, which, oh, that was redundant, which makes sense because otherwise it wouldn't be the Avs. According to Arif Dean of Colorado Hockey Now, quote, in 12 games in March, the Avalanche are 10 for 38 on the power play, which is this was before tonight's game against Winnipeg, mind you, which is a 26.3% success rate and is good for 5th in the NHL in that time. To put it into perspective, they were 13 for 97 in their previous 33 games, ranging from December 1st to March 1st. That was far and away the worst power play in the league. Only 3 more power play goals are needed for them to match a 3-month total in just 1 month. And they also scored on the power play again tonight. So it tells you the reason, and I mean, the reason things have actually been functional as of late is because the Avalanche finally tried something different. Finally. They changed the strategy. Nazem Kadri arriving certainly helped that, but for God's sakes, they just all season continued to try and hammer the same sheet metal over and over again to attempt to make an ornate piece of art out of a chunk of scrap metal. In case that analogy didn't make sense, the Avs just kept trying the same power play strategy over and over again, hoping it would work. It didn't. They come back from the break and finally are trying something new with switching the way McKinnon and Natchez move, some different staff, and lo and behold, goals are actually going in and less shorties. But Marty Natchez really has been a key factor to that, but truly not just the power play, but all over the ice. Since coming back from the Olympic break, Martin Natchez has been the second most productive player in the NHL with 26 points, trailing only Nikita Kucherov at 29. I truly wonder who questioned Marty Natchez's fit with the Avalanche. I have it on record that I was confident in the fit from the get-go, and now Marty is hitting new career highs in every offensive category. His game is rounding out all around, and he is incredibly reliable. People like to point at his past playoff performances, but as an inconsistency, but that was with only Carolina, a team that is great, but employs a system that was never going to help him reach his full potential. Not to mention, many Avalanche players who were acquired last year had tough playoffs, but were unadjusted to the Avalanche fully. This year, that's changed, and I fully anticipate Marty Natchez, along with Brock Nelson and others, to have a much more successful playoffs this time around.
Yeah, I would say not only did they change the power play, right, to get something different going. Definition. What is it? The definition of stupidity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different, or insanity. Okay. Either way, insanity, stupidity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different outcome. So glad to see they're finally shaking it up. Also, though, 97 power play opportunities across 3 months and 38 in 1 month. That is higher volume this month. You know, it's that helps. Be it because there's more games here after the break and teams are tired so they can capitalize on those opportunities, or they're getting more opportunities because they're playing better at 5-on-5 to do the things that force an opposing team to give up a penalty, right? Or to take a penalty. So I think that's worth noting too, that they have almost half as many opportunities in 1/3 of the time. So they're getting it more often. And obviously, as you put, Corey, they're scoring more often. So both are key recipes for success because in the playoffs, even if you're not scoring on the power play, that's still 2 minutes that ideally your opponents don't have the puck. So you can kind of control the flow of the game.
Yeah, I think that's an accurate assessment of that. And it's nice to not feel total dread now that whenever the Avalanche power play goes out on the ice. It's nice to not think, man, I wish we were still 5-on-5. Can we just rebuke that power play? Can we take it back? Can we just decline that like in football? No, it's nice to have the relief like, okay, cool. There's a good possibility that we can set this up. We can score. And I mean, against the Jets tonight, they had a power play goal. They had multiple opportunities and they looked good on almost all the attempts. And I mean, Connor Hellebuck really was just the one who shut the door, as he always fucking does. And then the PK killed off every single Jets penalty, every single one. And they gave the Jets a lot of opportunities tonight. Speaking of, you reminded me of something in my Penguins notes that I didn't include, but I just want to mention real quickly that I saw fans complaining about like the refs being biased in that game in favor of the Avalanche. So both the Avalanche and the Penguins had the same number of power play opportunities, 4. Both teams got a 5-on-3 at one point, and the Penguins actually had more penalty minutes because they were the benefactors of a double minor. The refs don't put 6 goals into the net. That's all I got to say on that.
Yeah, the refs don't put any goals into the net. Listen, how many times do you see a penalty shot awarded? That's maybe the only time you could actually say the refs put it into the net. That or the goaltender interference, isn't it? Those maybe are the other times that they can be directly responsible for the puck going in the net when it shouldn't.
But, and can a ref a bad game? 100%, absolutely. He can ref it poorly. But yeah, at the same time, the Penguins were awarded more power play time than the Avalanche were. The Avalanche just did a better job capitalizing on that. So you can't really say that that's unfair. Sorry. But anyway, we will not dwell on that any longer. We will continue. As for the games the Avalanche played this week, one word I think encapsulates them all. Control. It waned and it wasn't always perfectly held, but the Avs never lost control in any of these games. If that control was slipping away, they were able to wrestle it back and use it to win that contest. Chicago was an interesting matchup because the Avalanche jump out to a 2-goal lead and then Chicago brings it to within 1 and actually does shockingly well to press after that. There were multiple chances in which Chicago probably should have scored to tie the game, especially in the first half of the second period, but they did not. Mackenzie Blackwood is once again, why did I say reassured? That's not the word that I was looking for. Has once again, we'll just say arisen after a couple performances below his standards. I think the previous blowout at the hands of the Pens truly woke up both goaltenders between the pipes for the Avalanches. Neither of them were spared any embarrassment in that game. I'm sure they wish there was a third goalie that could have gone in, so neither of them had to finish it. But to be honest, despite boasting a .950 save percentage against Chicago, Mackenzie Blackwood was not the best goaltender in that game. That honor goes to Arvid Soderblom, who, despite having only a .918 save percentage in this game, still made 45 saves on 49 shots. Damn! Yes, Chicago had some excellent chances to tie the game, but the only reason the game would have been tied at all is because Arvid Soderblom played out of his mind. No, not enough to goal the Avs because the defense in front of them allowed 49 shots, and any great team is going to score at least a few. But the score of this game should have been much, much higher in favor of the Avs. But you can see the building blocks there for Chicago. It just all needs to round out.
Yeah, add that to the list of ones from a week ago with the power rankings that I was quick to judge, and I do think the results on the ice are gonna make me eat my words more with time going on. But I know the Sharks and the Blackhawks are gonna be giving each other trouble for a couple of years to come here. But it's wow, 45 on 49. That's an insanely good game. So Soderblom, we got Joel Hofer out here. What's going on with these goalies? The old reliables aren't so reliable these days. It's exciting to see a new generation starting to rise to the mantle.
Yep, and I mean there always has to be. There always has to be somebody who steps up into the fold. So take that, Marty Brodeur, who says that apparently goaltenders are just ass now, which I completely disagree. But, what do I know? I'm not a goalie. Against the Caps, there was a much higher chance of getting goalied. Logan Thompson is a quality goaltender and an Olympian, no less. But one of the most consistent goalies currently in the NHL, despite the team in front of him being less so. To his credit, he was able to hold off the Avalanche until the third period. But then again, so was Mackenzie Blackwood. Except the problem was the Caps went for a Hail Mary pass to Justin Sordiff in the first period, who was cherry-picking behind the D and had a one-on-one with Blackwood. That went in. The Caps continued to try that strategy all night to no success, but also ended up intent on just defending instead of continuing to attack as they need every possible win to even hope to make the playoffs, and figured they won't outscore the Avs if they continue to try and attack, so they just kept going for the high-risk, high-reward play. And when that continued to not work, they just defended. But the Avalanche, while teams have discovered ways to slow them up and stifle them, can't stop them completely. Because the Avalanche can capitalize on your mistakes, like when Marty Necas stole the puck from Thompson behind the net to start the third and dished it to a net side Landeskog with a yawning cage before him. I mean, literally, you could not have asked for a more wide-open net. Logan Thompson wasn't even in it. What was particularly funny about this is that Landy took an extra second to shoot the puck, and you're just sitting there thinking, Landy, shoot it! But with that goal, the Avs now have 10 players with at least 10 goals and are closing in on even more. Not to mention the team also has 3 30-plus goal scorers. Then Nick Waugh out of nowhere follows it up with another steal off a turnover and beats Thompson clean. Avs are up 2-1. Great. And also with Nick Waugh, Dom, do you happen to know how many goals he had with Toronto the whole year that he was with them?
Wasn't it something like 3?
It was 5. He had 5. And then...
Oh, wow. Sorry, Nick. I didn't even give you that much credit.
With the Avs, in just the time that he's been with us since the trade deadline, he already has 3. So he's doing great. Sometimes it's just that change in environment. But this game went from one where I'm just hoping for OT to one that I hope we can just round out into a regulation win. But then Riker has to go and open his big mouth and say, quote, "We don't want Ovechkin to get his 1,000th career goal tonight." Well, then Washington proceeds to get their 5th power play opportunity. The Avs had been perfect on the PK up until then, but getting into that much penalty trouble was not great. And when you give any team that many opportunities, they have the chance to make adjustments. The Caps sure did. And Ovi, from the spot he scored from for 20 years, blasts it past Blackwood for career goal number 1,000. God damn it. Game tied 2-2 with a little over 5 minutes to go. I like being a part of history, but why did it have to be us? I'm at least thankful that there didn't have to be a whole ceremony after it happened. Anyways, we arrive at OT. No longer the Avs' kryptonite per se, but not a place they're great either. However, the Avs controlled the entire time until the end. The Avs held the puck, and even when shots got blocked, saved, deflected, the Avs were all over it, or stealing it back, or just plain aggressive. Then, once Marty Necas got a hold of it, he didn't let go. He circled and circled until he saw Brock Nelson go down low and backdoor and threaded the perfect pass to end it. I would like to also add on here, somebody was asking me, why do they not guard Ovechkin on the power play? Like, he's just standing there. And you're right, he is just standing there. The issue is when you're shorthanded, you only have 4 guys to dedicate to their 5. And if you try and dedicate a man onto Ovechkin, yes, you're taking away Ovechkin, but then that just means that somebody else amongst the other 4 is just going to move around freely and create their own scoring opportunities. Ovechkin is not the only one who can score on the Avalanche's power play. So it's really more efficient to try and take away the pass to Ovechkin altogether rather than guarding him directly on the power play, because you can't allow the rest of the unit to move around you and create different opportunities.
Yeah, they're going to create a 2-on-1 somewhere if you're just standing on Ovechkin. And if you're standing still covering him, then it's just like any sport. He's going to move first. He's going to make the first move, so you're going to be playing catch up at that point. It's not a good strategy, But congratulations to Ovechkin. I'm sorry it happened against you, but also like it is a cool moment for a career thing like that. I thought it was poetic that he did score from his office. What better way for a goal like that to come from?
Where the fuck else would he have scored from?
You know, yeah, well, maybe I'm a sucker for those cool things like that. Maybe it's not that big a deal, but I still think
it is a big deal, but it's like he scored from his office. Yeah, as if he's really scored from anywhere else after like year 10.
I mean,
when he was young, he was doing the crazy things. Okay, he wasn't going to get his 1,000th on an empty netter. He could have, but he didn't.
Yeah, but exactly, he could have. So even if it feels dumb and simple and obvious, I don't know. I feel like that's the type of thing that it lives on in infamy as a picture that everybody remembers, that becomes a hockey card someday of him in like in his office, fully just like full extension on the stick. It's a good hockey moment. That's all I'm saying. And if I remember correctly, didn't the Avalanche get the win in this game? So
yes,
it all worked
we
out?
won.
Okay. And so they got an OT loss point. They're in the East. They're not really in the hunt. No loss there. Ovi hits his milestone. Nothing bad about that. Y'all got the dub. It sounds like the best case scenario across the board. You got to watch history.
Congratulations to Alex Ovechkin. Anyway, I love you, Tom. I didn't mean it. I'm sorry.
You're over here making me laugh.
Finally, the Penguins game in Pittsburgh was the perfect revenge game. That and Evgeny Malkin was injured, so clearly the Avalanche were going to be fine. And they were. Not that we ever hope for injuries. Also, hopefully Ethan Frank of the Capitals recovers quickly. The Avs really did to Pittsburgh in their home what Pittsburgh did to us in ours, and that's absolutely throttle them. Nathan MacKinnon steals it at the blue line to create his own breakaway and doesn't miss. Pittsburgh ties it, but then Sam Mahimski just keeps pounding at the net until it goes in. The Avs got another power play goal from Marty Necas. Then, less than a minute later, the Avs get goal number 4 when Logan O'Connor gets his first point in his first game back by feeding Parker Kelly, who could get 20 goals by the end of the year. Snipes it from basically the goal line. This is all in the first period, by the way. From there, the Avs actually win a goalie interference challenge, which never happens. And it was goalie interference. Pittsburgh's man bulldozes Wedgwood from behind and then tucks it. You can't do that. The Avs get another in the second and an empty netter by Ross Colton in his return in the third to end it. Wedgwood was also incredible in this game. The Avs got the puck in the back of the net, but Pittsburgh still generated a lot of quality scoring chances, and Wedgwood just said no. And really, that does not do justice to how well Wedgwood played in this game. It was just constant, saved by Wedgwood. Oh, my God, what a save by Wedgwood. And you could tell how exasperated Pittsburgh fans were based on their commentator statements when the Pens finally got goal number 2 late in the third. And it was as fluky as it gets. Once again, I really don't know who starts in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think there's a few teams like that, right? But Wedge Dad definitely deserves to be the starter in my book. And it's nothing against Blackwood. I just think Wedgwood's earned it. And you never know if he's going to have another season like this. Goalies can be fluky, right? So you kind of got to ride the hot hand. And once one of them loses, you just imagine that's when it'll switch. Maybe they switch back and forth, but you definitely in the playoffs want goalies to get into a rhythm. So it's a good problem to have for the Avalanche for sure. Also, bulldozing Wedgwood, I'm glad he's okay, because that could have obviously gone very poorly.
It wasn't too bad. Like, it wasn't bad, but he did come from behind, like, slam him down to the ground, and it's like, well, yeah, how the fuck is he supposed to even have an opportunity to make the save? You, like, dive tackled him. But no, he was okay.
Well, that's the most important thing. So glad to hear our Wedge Dad is all good to go and continuing to dominate between the pipes. And
I mean, as has Blackwood. Throughout this road trip, they've both played and they've both been really good. Blackwood got the start again tonight. He started the last, I think, or no, they've gone back and forth. So I think it was Blackwood in Chicago. It was Wedgwood in Capitals land, and then it was it was Wedgwood against Pittsburgh. So maybe it's been Blackwood for 3 of these games. Hold on. Now my brain, no. Okay, no, yeah. Scott Wedgwood was Pittsburgh. Who was Capitals? Capitals was Mackenzie Blackwood. Okay, so yeah, Mackenzie Blackwood has started more games on this road trip, and he has been fantastic at all of them. So I mean, they both have really locked back in here at the end of the season, making Jared Bednar's job that much harder. I do not envy that, but I know the choice is going to be the right one, and the good news is if it ends up being the wrong one, that's okay. You can just put in the other guy, and it's probably going to be all right.
Yeah, again, a good problem to have, and you have the strength at that position that you really can't go wrong. And if one of them has a bad game, you can switch it up and then always switch right back afterwards. So it's a lot of flexibility. So don't envy him in making the decision for game one, but from there, he's going to have plenty of coaches envying him for his options.
Absolutely. But Dom, I don't know what to say right now. Just when it felt the playoffs were in reach for the Sharks, as everyone in the bottom of the West fucking sucks, began rapidly slipping away. When the time is most desperate, the Sharks cannot play desperation hockey. What's even going wrong right now for the boys in teal? Game after game is getting dropped, and time is quickly running out. But is it too late, or can the season still be saved? It's time for In the Tank with Dom.
It's too late. Thanks, Corey. But it's too late. The clock has struck midnight on the Sharks' playoff hopes this year. We're cooked. And, it is what it is. But the fact is that in March, when back just a couple weeks ago on my birthday, also, shout out my sister. Happy birthday, Natalie. Love you so much, sis. I hope you're still listening to these. And I hope it was also a very happy birthday because today's her birthday. But
I think sorry to interrupt. I think we recorded on her birthday last year too.
Oh, did we?
I'm fairly
we'll have to go
certain
back and check on that.
I remember a birthday message for her previously, so that's funny.
But anyways, I wish we could have a win for her tonight, but unfortunately, yeah, the Sharks have lost 6 straight. What's going wrong? It's hard to say, but we were playing competitive hockey in March. We were playing ahead of schedule, right, with being in the hunt. I think injuries are partly an issue. The timing of Askarov going down. I actually missed it with the game, the Sharks game tonight. But earlier in this game, Askarov was starting. This is his first game in a couple weeks that he's playing. And then he got injured in this game. It looked like he hit the back of his head or he was holding his neck. He skated off under his own power, but he started this game and did not finish it. So it was actually Nedeljkovic who made the awesome save, and they were 30 and 33, and I just didn't spot the difference at first. So, of course, we get Askarov back for a partial game before he's out again. That doesn't help. Tyler Toffoli has missed multiple games now with injury. That doesn't help. He's the one guy who wears a letter in every single game for the Sharks right now. He's a stable figure. And so I think when things are going wrong, you don't have your dad there on the bench to keep everybody calm, cool, and collected. I think that's part of the problem, right? Ryan Reeves is getting in boxing matches like he does and then dislocates his finger, not on his punching hand, but on the other hand from grabbing a jersey and having it jammed. Like, I don't know what's going on. I asked for the luck of the Irish. Some people say teal is technically a shade of green, and it just hasn't been happening. Also, how about Nedeljkovic having a great run there? He went 8-1-1 in games that he had started, and then what do you know? He's given up 5 or more goals in his last, well, not counting tonight because it wasn't a start. I think it was in 3 of his last 4 starts. Nedeljkovic has given up 5 or more goals. That is a problem. And
it is.
It seems to me that it's not necessarily the defense's fault in those games because let's flash back to last week. I was talking about it in real time. The Sharks had a pretty solid first period against Buffalo. They were going up against Alex Lyon, and Lyon pitched a shutout. But in the second period, the Sharks allowed 3 shots on goal and allowed 3 goals. You can do the math on how many saves Alex Nedeljkovic had in the second period. That just doesn't work. It does not work. Point blank, end of story. You can't be allowing 3 goals on 3 shots in a period. Like, I don't know if I can necessarily blame the defense. Sure, turnovers play a role, but when you're called upon to make 3 saves, you need to make the 3 saves. So it does feel like there's just that inconsistency, be it in net or in with the defense, the turnovers, right? I feel like the youth and inexperience is partially a problem. We saw that with Sam Dickinson earlier this season, that is. So, it's hard just to pinpoint one thing, but I do think the offense has gone a little quiet as well, just a little bit less gelled together with some of the line shakeups and again Toffoli's injury. So just seems like, and I'm gonna pause here and get your input, Corey, but just kind of seems like that point in the season where the Sharks are ready to go into the off season, play some golf and relax on a beach.
Which disappoints me because they've played all season like that hasn't been the case. God, they've played like they've wanted it. And I'm not saying that they don't still want it. I think they do. I just don't think they have the ability to elevate yet. And right now, that's what we're seeing. Like teams like the Canadiens, who are also a very young team, but they've been through it now. Where last year they barely made it. I mean, barely made it, where they had some trouble elevating. But this year, nope, not one bit of trouble. They have elevated. They have managed to get their wins where they need to give themselves a cushion, stay firmly in the playoffs. Columbus, last year, young team, barely missed. And this year, elevating. So, by all accounts, the Sharks next year should have that ability to elevate and understand what is needed in order for them to make the playoffs. But I can't lie when I say that it's so disappointing right now when a team like the fucking Flames, with basically no one on that team who you'd be like, yes, that is like a number 1 center to score, are winning more games right now than the Sharks. Are the Flames going to make it? No, not at all. But it just felt like the Sharks had an opportunity here that they've wasted. And I can't hide that I'm disappointed in that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think it's a tough one for me to balance because I'm certainly disappointed, right? This collapse has really come out of nowhere after a strong stretch of play, but they do seem overwhelmed and discombobulated. This was an opportunity for guys, so many guys, including on the defense in particular, who are in contract years here. So this is a cliff, right? It's a tripping point for who does stay and who goes in this offseason and who's going to be with the team further into this rebuild as they make that climb. This is a time when players need to be showing out their best. I really hope guys like Mook Madulin do get an extension signed, Colin Graff, right? But obviously it's no guarantee. Now those guys are RFAs, so I'd like to think they will. But it does. It is disappointing because the potential was there. And the West is as weak as ever. The Pacific is the weakest I've seen it ever. And this is historically known as a weak division. I feel like the Pacific has always gotten a bad rap, and sometimes it's deserved. But this is the worst I've ever seen it. The best opportunity you'd have to win. I mean, shit, Edmonton was in reach. You had all the games in hand. I think the pressure of that got to them. There's still a lot of young kids on this team. And then they got frazzled. And when you don't have that leadership, you don't have Toffoli there available, that's just going to make things worse. So I'm trying to keep perspective here because, like many fans, I'm like, well, if we're not going to make the playoffs, let's get another top 5 draft pick. Like, if we are truly cooked, fuck it. We gave it a good run. If it's not going to happen this year, might as well be best set up for next year. And, maybe we can get another top defensive prospect or something, or make a package and trade up if there's one player in particular we want, if we're in reach. So, mixed feelings. Obviously, the disappointment is the most prevalent one, but there are bright sides to it in that way, or silver linings maybe is more accurate. And no matter what, they still overperformed to expectations this year. Even if they fall off right at the end, they sent a message to the rest of the league, and everybody knows to be on watch for them next year.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, nonetheless, I tell people, if you don't realize or understand that the Sharks are going to be, in the next couple years here, they're going to become one of the most dominant teams for the course of like 5 to 7 years, where they are just crushing the rest of the league. You're stupid if you don't recognize that that is what is about to happen. You are in danger if that is the case. So I mean, yes, you are correct in your assertions, and I mean, yes, the opportunity to then continue to build in this offseason is there. And I mean, let's keep it totally honest here. If the Sharks did, and you know, there's still an outside shot, I think, in my opinion, do make the playoffs. They're playing the Avalanche. And it is true that the Sharks would play without a care in the world. They have nothing to lose. There's no expectations there, where the Avalanche have those. And, you know, as some have said, it could be a trap scenario where it's like, well, the Sharks have no expectations. They could give the Avs a run for their money. No, they wouldn't. They would get utterly fucking crushed by this iteration of the Avalanche, in my opinion. And I'm not trying to say that as like an arrogant Avalanche fan. Just knowing what I know, how these two teams, and again, regular season really means nothing, but I think difference in experience level, difference in goaltending quality, difference in defense, it would not be close.
Yeah, and that's been my problem. Is I know some believe that maybe the Sharks could give the Avalanche a challenge. Like I know the hockey guy in particular has said that for months with the what if, but that was my problem where I'm like, I don't know if I want us to play the Avalanche. I kind of want to get higher up and play against a Pacific team if we're going to do this, where I feel like it's a series we can win. It was a weird space to be where I'm like, I would like us to play the Avalanche so we can go to a game, but also if we're going to a game together, my friend, that means my team is cooked before the puck's even dropped. So, I'm just there cursing them. So, you know, there's a weird range of emotions that would have come with that. And I think my health, my heart, has been spared a large amount of stress, from that series, even if it would have been great for us to get to watch together. And who knows, maybe we'll go to some playoff games together anyway.
Yes.
I hope we will.
Me too. I do too.
But yeah, it wasn't all bad this week. I am going to jump forward just so we can get the bad out of the way, and then
Yes.
I can maybe finish with a little bit of a bright side. So the other game that was a blowout this week, and I do call it a blowout, they made it closer in the end, but against the Nashville Predators on Tuesday night, that would have been the 24th, the Sharks lost 6-3. They were down 5-1 in the first period. It happened quickly. Forsberg, right? All the big names for Nashville, the guys they went out and got, were getting on the board. You got Forsberg from Marchessault, and then you got Marchessault with another assist. Then Yossi from Forsberg, Ryan O'Reilly and Brady Shea on assist for Evangelista, and then Shea scoring from O'Reilly. Like, it was crazy. Oh, and then, of course, Stamkos as well with assists from Forsberg and Marchessault. All of the guys that they paid money and went out there and got for Nashville, like what, last offseason or the one prior, because it's kind of those two off seasons, they all scored. Saros played like his old self. You know, the Nashville that maybe we expected 2 seasons ago showed up, and they were on home ice, and they're playing for playoffs right now. So it's not necessarily surprising that Nashville played well. The issue is when you can't go more than 3 minutes at a time, or maybe it's 4 minutes. It's 4 minutes. When you can't go more than 4 minutes in between goals allowed, that's a big issue. That is not okay. And again, I don't know if it's all on I can't put it necessarily on the defense. I can't put it all on the goaltending, but Nedeljkovic, what happened, my guy? Where's the consistency? You were on a tear, and then you allow 5 goals on the first 9 shots of the game. In the first period, you had allowed as many goals as you had saves. That's not good. There's no excuse for that. Even if the defense isn't doing well enough, you can't do that. Especially when Askarov's hurt. Brossoit only had like 1 start in here last week against Ottawa and gave up a bunch, right? So you really don't have a good option behind you. You got to just show up and play your best game because there isn't another option. Maybe Nedeljkovic crumbled under this pressure somewhat. But yeah, in the second period, when you're down 6-1 with what is it, 28 minutes left in regulation, I'm pretty sure that's when I turned off the TV. And because, 5-goal deficit, I did end up watching the highlights and I saw the Sharks they kept pushing. They got a power play goal from Will Smith late in the second. They also scored Will Smith again early in the third period. And I'm just going to say this right now. I didn't write 3 Sharks of the week, but Will Smith had a heck of a game here. Even if it was a losing effort, he wasn't going down quietly. So like you said, Corey, there is still that fight. In his interview after the game, he said he wants to make playoffs, and that's what they're fighting for and trying to do, even if it wasn't a good performance across the whole team.
Yeah, I don't think really I have anything additional to add. I think you captured it kind of perfectly, and nothing more that I can say, at least in this regard, that I haven't already kind of aired out.
Yeah, and that's totally fair, too. And the only other note is Igor Chernyshov returned after that scary hit and the concussion not too long ago. So he did play in this game, and he had an assist on that last Will Smith goal. Weird line. It was a weird line combination because I'm pretty sure at that point in time, you had a line centered by Misa with Will Smith and Chernyshov on the wings. So the continued line jumbling from Warsofsky, I've already made my feelings about that known. I don't know. I think he's throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks because
what has worked though? Like, you can win. You know what will work to win. That.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Couldn't have said it better myself, but we already kind of did last week, so I'm going to keep going in between these games because it was a relatively quiet week for the Sharks. Yes, there were a total of 4 games, but 2 of them happened on these Thursdays when we were recording. So in between that time, there were only 2 games for the Sharks. So you'd also think that extra rest, they might be able to play well. And in one of these games, they did. They did have a good game against the Philadelphia Flyers at home in the SAP Center on Saturday. It was a tie game for a good portion of it, I want to say. I'm trying to remember when exactly the Sharks scored, so I'm going to pull that up. Yeah, both teams scored in the second period, so it was a tight first period. I remember it being a close battle. Orlov ties it up later in the second period off of a power play goal. But then early in the third, they gave up a power play goal to Christian Dvorak. And, they kept battling. They tried to fight back against Philadelphia. I kind of compared San Jose a bit to Philadelphia, I think last week in the power rankings, just based on where they're at relative to their conference right now. But Philadelphia is a better team. I don't think they get enough credit sometimes. I think when Vladar plays a good game, he really shows up. And, Trevor Zegras is still doing much better in Philadelphia than he ever did in Anaheim. But he has played the Sharks a number of times over the last couple of years, right? So he does seem to always have a better game, I feel like, against us. I've noticed. He knows what he's looking for. Ultimately, the Sharks did lose this one 4-1, but that was due to a pair of empty netters in the final minute and 30 seconds of the game. They weren't able to pull the goalie until late as well because just horrible timing on some or maybe no, they didn't register it as a power play, but they just kept icing the puck late in the game. I don't know how you ice the puck when you're trying to pull your goalie. I don't know how you do that. That is an operational failure that you can't pull your goalie until later in the game than you'd like to. And then you still gave up 2 empty netters because, why not? You're trying, if you're down by 2, once you're down by 3, that's kind of when you throw in the towel. So again, a better performance in this game from the Sharks as a whole. A better performance from Nedeljkovic, of course, only allowing 2 goals on 26 shots faced. So proving that he does still have that capability. It's just been so hot and cold recently. It's really, I think that's part of the problem too, is even if the offense is doing its job, which it isn't, the goaltending has just become far too inconsistent without Askarov healthy to help switch off the workload.
I was going to say something, and now it has just completely left me. I'm so sorry. Like, I had it, and then I saw how many wins the Avalanche needed to clinch the Central Division, and it's just gone. I'm so sorry. I don't know what just happened to me. I did have something to say there, and it's left me.
No need to be sorry, my friend. And I can say this stretch has sucked, right? The 6-game stretch has sucked. But it's been a hell of a lot more fun talking hockey, talking Sharks hockey with you this season than it was the last year, right? This is, and again, silver linings. Yes, I want more. Yes, this stretch in particular has been frustrating and disappointing and reminiscent of last year and of past years. But hey, at least they're still battling. They finally got a point again tonight, so that's maybe trending in the right direction. It's something, right? Now I can focus in on the Avalanche for playoffs. But Corey, the highlight of not just this week, but of last week as well, when we were talking about things we forgot to do, I saved it for in the tank. But that's what it was. I did have it written in here and saved, so I didn't bring it up earlier because I didn't know how long it would take, and I wanted to make sure we had enough time to talk actual hockey. But March Madness is here, everyone. And while, yes, I could talk plenty about the actual basketball, Madness means at my office, I organized yet another bracket. If you haven't been listening to us... What was that bracket, dog? This time was Cookie Madness 2026, Corey. So we started with Oreo Madness actually more accurately, like mostly in April. It was technically late March of 2025. I want to say it was September, October. We did Pringles Madness, which surprisingly, it was an upset. It was the number 7 seed all-dressed Pringles that took home the trophy.
I've heard good things about all-dressed chips from Canadians. I've never had an all-dressed chip, but all I've ever heard is how good all-dressed chips are.
Highly recommend, actually. I had never had them before. No one in my office had heard of them, so they were still technically in the top half. They were ranked 7 out of 16 just from anonymous pre-rankings, and then I set up the bracket and we went tasting. But this go round, we had Cookie Madness. And part of the reason we had Cookie Madness is one of my coworkers, Susanna, her daughter is a Girl Scout. And she had 35 boxes of Girl Scout cookies donated. So we had to make a bracket with that. So half of the teams and the competitors, shall we say, in this bracket were Girl Scout cookies.
Oh,
Corey,
fuck.
What do you think were the other half of the bracket?
Well, first, I was going to say, before I so rudely interrupted Dom, he was going to say, if you've been a longtime listener, an OG of this podcast, you will recall that last year we had multiple segments about the Oreo cookie bracket before. So if you've not heard that, it's genuinely really entertaining to listen to. Do not remember which episodes they were last year. It would have been the March episodes, obviously, due to March Madness. So go and listen to those. You will definitely catch the Oreo cookie brackets. People actually told us that like those were some of their favorite segments. So I was glad to hear that we're getting to bring it back. But anyway, I do know the other half because I remember you told me it is Chips Ahoy cookies, which I didn't know there were multiple like Chips Ahoy options. I thought there was just like Chips Ahoy and like Chips Ahoy Thins. I didn't know there was multitudinal flavors.
Well, yeah, and you have Chips Ahoy. Do you want it like the crunchy versus the chewy versus the chunky?
True. The chewy Chips Ahoy actually smack.
They do. Although it seems like I did not do the acquiring of all of the Chips Ahoy. So we actually, in this bracket, had the Chips Ahoy Crunchy original. So it was for that reason that they were the Chips Ahoy number 2 seed. And I made, with the help of my coworker, Chips Ahoy Reese's as the number 1 seed. Additional flavors we had were Candy Blast, Red Velvet. Red Velvet's really good.
What? Yeah! Where can I get some red velvet Chips Ahoy? That sounds amazing.
I'm pretty sure they're at King Soopers, like straight up Kroger brands.
I have never seen that in my life.
All right, I'll find some and I'll bring them the next time I see you. There was also ones that were like a double chocolate, like chocolate cookie with chocolate chips with fudge filling, like chocolate fudge filling. We had like a regular chewy cookie, like chocolate chip cookie with fudge filling. We had some cookies and cream ones that were pretty good, and then a crunchy chocolate caramel. But actually, technically, Corey, as of today, the bracket concluded. My coworkers don't even know the results yet because I am sending out the email final tomorrow. So you're going to be the first one to know the winner of the overall bracket, and all of you listening tomorrow will know just as soon as everyone else. But Corey, first of all,
wait. Am I going to get? Yeah. Okay. I was going to ask, am I going to get a chance to like shoot some guesses here? All right. I'll let you ask the question. Sorry. Go.
Which team do you think, or which Chips Ahoy cookie do you think represented those 8 teams, those 8 flavors for that half of the bracket?
Man. So wait, you're asking me which team I think took the overall victory here?
Which Chips Ahoy cookie? Because basically I set it up where one half of the bracket was Chips Ahoy and the other half were Girl Scouts.
Oh, so you're asking me who I think the finalists were?
Yes, exactly.
Oh man. Okay. Well, Girl Scouts for me, I think it's easy. I think Thin Mints is the finalist for Girl Scouts, and then tell me all my Chips Ahoy flavor options again, because holy shit, there was so many that I didn't know existed.
Yeah. So here I'll go in seed order really quickly.
Okay.
So the 1 seed was Reese's, the 2 seed was Original, the 3 seed was like a chewy cookie with Hershey's fudge filling. The 4 seed was the Red Velvet. The 5 seed was like the double chocolate fudge filled. The 6 seed was like a cookies and cream. The 7 was a chocolate caramel, and the 8 was a candy blast. Now that was the pre-seeding, so not necessarily how they won out, but those were the matchups to start.
That's tough. I'm gonna like, for me, I'm always like a classic kind of guy, but if I was trying to like remind me which Oreo ended up winning, by the way. Wasn't it the double stuff? Didn't double stuff go all the way?
Double stuff did win.
Yeah,
but double
lemon,
stuff won
lemon
against
was second.
Lemon.
Yeah. My mom loves lemon. She definitely would have picked lemon. So yeah, I think I'm going to go, to me, this feels off the board. I'm going to go Red Velvet matched up against Thin Mints. Don't tell me the answer yet. Tell me if I'm close. Tell me if I at least got one.
Red Velvet did not get enough love. It did not get as much love as it should have gotten, because in my opinion, that one was by far, not even close, the best Chips Ahoy.
Okay.
The semifinal on the Chips Ahoy half was the Reese's versus the Original. The 1 and 2 seeds eventually did collide, even though I thought that was a shame, because I thought the 3 and 4 seeds were just straight up better.
Okay. So yeah, Reese's is going to be my second guess then.
Yeah. So Reese's did go into the championship today.
Okay.
But now let's go to the Girl Scout half of the bracket, where this was how I seeded them from the start. We put Thin Mints at 1, the Tagalongs or peanut butter patties, depending on your region, at 2, the Samoas or the Caramel Delights, again, regional dependent, at 3, the Do-Si-Dos at 4, Adventurefuls at 5, which are like a brownie one. I'd never had before.
So
they were
good.
pretty solid.
They're so good.
The Trefoils at 6, Lemon Ups at 7, which might have been a mistake with how much my coworkers like lemon, right? And then Toffee Tastics at 8.
Well, evidently you failed, because there's this new s'more flavor that I've heard is very good.
We didn't have those locally, or they weren't available, so
they are here.
We couldn't put them in the bracket. Maybe it's that the my coworker, like, her supply ran out or something.
Understandable.
They were not an option for us. That's why we did Toffee Tastics. We did ask for the s'mores one, but we did have to do the gluten-free toffee option instead. Which I'm not even going to spoil it. They got blown out 15-0 against Thin Mints.
Oh yeah. First of all, I want to go to the place that calls them, what did you say, peanut butter patties instead of fucking tagalongs? What the fuck? I'm gonna beat you up.
The
Fucking
place is called
weirdos.
California. I'm from there.
You, California. Of course it's California. It's a tag-along. Like, I would have accepted it if you said it was like another country. But what? Change the name of a cookie for a state. Fuck you, you fucking snobby, preppy bastards. It's a tag-along.
Boo! You stink!
That's why I mentioned the Caramel Delights too, because when we were growing up in
Stupid.
Northern California, that's what they were called. That's what I knew them as.
Dumb as hell. But no, I'm still going Thin Mints took the fucking final here.
In a shocker in the semifinal. They lost.
No.
And it wasn't even by just one vote. They lost by 3 votes.
Let me guess, to Lemon.
So the options were in that bottom half of the bracket they could have lost to Samoas, the Trefoils, the Tagalongs, or the Lemon Ups.
They lost to Lemon. Your coworkers love Lemon.
They do love Lemon, but
Oh, it didn't?
I'm bad at seeding. I didn't do my job well. Lemon Ups lost in the first round by a single vote to the Tagalongs, actually.
Fair. Okay, so Thin Mints was upset. Oh man. What sorry, tell me my options one more time. So obviously Lemon's not one because they got beat in the first round. Who else
It
did they
would
have gotten
be
beat by?
Tagalongs, Samoas, or Trefoils.
Samoas are pretty fucking good. And I don't even like coconut. That's the crazy part. I don't like coconut and I like Samoas. So I'll go Samoas. I'll say Samoas made the upset here.
Samoas did make the upset. I was shocked.
Wow.
I had multiple coworkers who, like, we were all like, it was just a clear divide between people who love Samoas more than I realize, and the few of us that absolutely hate coconut so much that we just refuse to have it. Like, we're not refused, but we were like, nope, I will vote for pretty much anything up against it. You could put the Samoas up against the Toffee Tastics, which tasted like cardboard, and I'd probably still pick the Toffee Tastics.
Which is funny because, like I said, I don't like coconut either. Like, I do not want to eat anything with coconut in it willingly, and I still like Samoas. But with you saying that, that makes me feel like the Chips Ahoy ended up taking the W, counter to what I originally anticipated here.
Well, then, lock in your official answer, because today, the battle for the championship, the #1 Chips Ahoy against the pre-voting, pre-tournament #1 Chips Ahoy of Reese's against the pre-tournament #3 Girl Scout of Samoas. Your champion won by more than 10 votes. Which one was it?
Well, since you told me that there are multiple people who dislike coconut in your office, I'm gonna go the Reese's ended up taking this.
Well, I guess I tricked you, because Samoas is the 2026 Cookie Madness champion. I am shocked by this. I would have put them at the 2 if I realized people like Samoa so freaking much. Maybe, who knows? If they had gone up against the Lemon Ups, maybe they would have lost in the first round. We'll never know. But, man, the madness is already here and gone. I meant to talk about it last week, and we were running tight on time, and I honestly forgot. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. There's been, with all the stress in the world, all the stress going on with work and everything, and, you know, the Sharks just falling flat on their face in the rink, or on the ice, maybe is a better way to say it. It was nice to have some fun madness and get the sugar levels bumped up at the office.
Yeah, no kidding. I love these every year, but it sounds like you have to construct another one here for later in the year. So what are you thinking? What's next, Dom? That's the most important question. This one's finished. So who's next?
Well, this is why I want to take input. I don't want to be, I want to get ideas. So if you have an idea at home and you want to hear me make a madness bracket out of it, drop it in the comments. Let me know. Send us a message. Tell me how bad I am at bracketing, please. But some of the ideas so far is thinking not necessarily like we did sweet, salty. So maybe do a salty flavor. Although
Cheetos.
If we do sweet, are there 16 different flavors of Cheetos?
There are a lot of Cheeto like options, and I just saw like a couple new ones the other day. For example, just with Puffs alone, there's like normal Cheeto Puffs. There was a white cheddar puffs. I think they now have like a chili lemon puff. So even just with those alone, there's a lot of flavor variation. And then obviously normal Cheetos have a bunch.
Yeah, well, then I'll have to look into that, because the other option for sweets that I've heard and started looking into would be jelly beans, because they're easy enough that I could order a bunch of different flavors online, set up a bracket, perhaps even go a larger one with like 32, or who knows, maybe the full 64 teams, and make it last even longer, since jelly beans are much smaller and easier to come by. So that was one idea I had. There was also a thought of mixing in, doing like the Bean Boozled, so the potential that you'd get caught with a bad one and get like one of those horrible flavors like grass clippings or earwax instead by accident. Although I don't know if I really want to Bean Boozle my coworkers, but one of them thought it'd be a fun idea. So you know who you are if you're listening.
I got another sweets idea for you, Dom, that I think would be even better, in my opinion.
Tell me.
Lil Debbie.
Ooh. Yeah. That is a good idea.
Getting all the different Lil Debbies. You got some Swiss rolls, cosmic brownies, zebra cakes, oatmeal cream pie, moon pie. There's so fucking many of them. But that's why it'd be perfect, because Lil Debbie is endless, and we all love ourselves some Lil Debbie.
It's a good thing we're wrapping up the episode soon, because now I'm hungry again.
I know. I've gotten myself all worked up all the same. Might have to make a run to Annie's frozen custard here. But I mean, yeah, Lil Debbie's, I think, would be good. So there you go. I've given you inspiration for salty and sweet. But everybody else out there, if you have an idea for what the next snack bracket for Dom's office should be, drop a comment, send us a DM, doesn't matter. Like, tell us what it should be, because you probably have even more ideas than we do.
Yeah, please do. And if any of you know me in person or know Corey as well, like, just shoot us a text, give us the ideas. He'll make sure it gets to me. And, good news is that there's still time. I probably won't do it for another 6 months. Try to space it out, because technically March Madness is only once a year, of course, but waiting a whole year isn't fun. So I try to do it every 6 months or so. So plenty of time in the off season when there's not hockey going on. You can have all the time in the world to let me know what is the best option.
Yeah, so even if you're listening to this in the off season because you're missing hockey and you just want to relive the glory that was this Avalanche season, you can always shoot us a text, because we'll probably see it. I am constantly on my phone.
You Zoomer, you.
I'm not. I guess I'm technically a Zoomer, but I'm more like, we're like the lost generation, where it's like we identify with both, millennial things as well as Gen Z things, because we were born like right on that cutoff line. So
the term zillennial is my favorite term that I feel most recognized by, because millennial culture and references are what I embrace and enjoy. All of the classics, the 90s. Like, I genuinely wish I could have lived in the 90s. Like, it seems like the peak era for my taste. But alas, that is not the case. And instead, we get to also understand and embrace all of the things of this generation, having been the first group of kids to ever get a phone and stuff. Wow, this is crazy and going away from what we want to talk about with hockey.
We're falling away quickly.
Let's get us back on topic.
Your 3 Avalanche players of the week are going to be Mackenzie Blackwood, especially now. He strung 3 great performances together. He's really gotten himself back on track, so I really have to commend that for him. Number 2 is Logan O'Connor, making his return, getting a point. The Marrow Denver's back. He almost had that first shorthanded goal tonight against Winnipeg. He's gonna get it. He's back. Logan shorthanded, O'Connor will reign supreme. And number 1 is Marty Necas. How could I not? He's been electric. He had this insane road point streak. I need to check if it continued tonight. I'm not 100% certain, but he has just been dynamite. He's gonna hit his first 100-point season this year with the Avalanche. He's been setting new career highs all over the place. So, I mean, I'm super proud and happy for him. Now, as for your fun fact this week, I did a poor job. I wasn't as prepared as I should be, but thankfully, I always keep fun facts in my back pocket. So, Dom, this week, we're going to do some trivia.
Ooh, fun.
So, we're going to do it very, very easily. Or we're just going to do one question, is what I mean. So, first and foremost, I guess I can set up the question this way. Dom, which team has won the most Stanley Cups? Softball question. Easy question.
What?
In the history of the NHL,
Like-
which team has won the most Stanley Cups?
Canadians?
Yes, exactly. Montreal
Okay.
with 24. I mean, my goodness, they even had a streak of 5 Stanley Cups in a row. You can't beat that. Montreal will reign supreme for many, 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 many years. But with that being in mind, which individual players have the most Stanley Cups within that? I'm thinking of 3 players. There's one who definitively has the most, and there's 2 more who are tied for second place. So with that in mind, which player has won the most Stanley Cups and how many? And then do you have any shot at who's in second and third?
Well, you caught me here because I actually, this is going to be a tough one for me. I don't know if I know who has the most Stanley Cups as players, but considering Montreal and the fact that you mentioned the 5 straight wins, I'm going to go with Maurice Rocket Richard.
You are both right and wrong. It was not Maurice Richard, but instead his brother Henri.
Oh.
Maurice Richard actually only has 8 Stanley Cups. How many Stanley Cups does Henri have?
Well, Henri is the younger brother, right? So he would have won more in the 60s.
I hold on. Let me see if he is the younger brother. He was born in 1936. Maurice was born in 1921. Yes, Henri is the younger brother. Henri did a lot of his winning in the... Yeah, you would be correct. In the mid 50s and pretty much throughout the 60s.
Yeah, so I think between the 50s and 60s, that's got to be like 9 right there. I'm thinking it's going to be double digits. So is it an even 10?
Very close. Henri Richard won a total of 11 Stanley Cups to stand definitively alone at the top. But number 2 and 3 are tied in second place at 10. So you are right in that regard. I don't think you'll know number 3, but there is a good shot that you know number 2. And you are in the right ballpark that it's going to be another legendary Canadian. In fact, the top 4 are all Canadians. So who do you think is number 2? Same era as Henri Richard.
Yeah, so I'm guessing if they're on this list, got to have been winning with those the Montreal Canadiens teams.
Correct.
From that dynasty of dominance. If I recall, number 2, and I think why you think I would know this, because I think he got his name on the cup the most from being as... was it a coach, or I think maybe as like a front office GM type of management person? Jean Beliveau?
You are correct, Tom. It is Jean Beliveau. Very good. Very good. Now, number 3, I would not expect you to know. I didn't know who this was either, but he is a fellow Hall of Famer. Number 3 is going to be Yvon. Oh, God. His last name is so hard for me because it's also French Canadian.
How is it spelled? Send it to me.
Yeah, I'll send it to you right now. It's like Cournoyer, I believe, is how you would say that, but I can also throw it in Google. I just sent it to you on Discord. Let me see how Google says it.
Yeah, I would say, or maybe it's Coeur Noyer, but I would say definitely at the end. And Noyer is definitely Noyer.
Okay. Gonna get it. Yep, it's Cronoyer.
Oh, like poisson, but not.
Wait, I'm listening.
Interesting.
Hold on, I'm listening to it one more time here. Yeah, no, they say it like with the R at the beginning. They say Cronoyer. So Yvon Cronoyer.
Huh.
But if you are a French Canadian
Well,
listening to our podcast or you have any French background, please tell me how to say Yvonne's name fully and correctly and how close or not close I was. I am not trying to disrespect Mr. Cronoyer's name, but I think we were pretty close on our first guess. I'm not too disappointed in that. I think we did okay.
I think we did great, and I'm happy I got at least one of them right.
I know,
from your
seriously.
trivia.
No, you did good. And I mean, really, you were right in the same ballpark with the Richard brothers. So I mean, you're not too far off. But Maurice only won how many did it say there? 8 or 9. So that is your
Only.
trivia for the day. And there you go, everybody. So if you're ever in a hockey night trivia, we've given you some further knowledge that you can flex, that you can exercise going forward.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this has been a fun episode. I know in the tank, we kept it a little shorter because it's a little depressing right now, but I was really happy to get to talk brackets, get to talk some fun trivia. I definitely learned something here from you, Corey. So thank you for that one. Even if you didn't feel like it was your best fun fact, I enjoyed it a bunch. And you know what? Having some French Canadians is perfect. When I'm talking about my sister's birthday, I guarantee she'll love to tell us how bad we said it.
Very, very true. I try. I really do try, but you're right. Natalie, please correct our French, I beg you. But you're right, Dom. We did have a lot of fun, and we always try and stay positive, even when our teams are making us feel particularly negative. Oh my God. Why is a YouTube video playing in the background? Leave me alone, foul demon. The fuck was
that's
that?
The worst.
That was weird. Let's not do that again, whatever the fuck that was. Thankfully, that's not going to come through for all of you, but that was a fucking jump scare. But anyway, the clock is counting down to the final horn. We really appreciate you taking the time to listen to this episode of the Captain Avalanche Fancast. If you have something you want to know about the Avalanche Sharks or just hockey in general, or to yell at us in angry French, reach out to us on our socials or email, and we'll be happy to try and answer it. The best thing you can do if you like what we're doing here is to follow us on whatever platform you're using and to share this podcast everywhere you can with everyone you can. Make sure to send us your snack bracket ideas. I'm Captain Avalanche Corey.
And I'm Dom from the tank.
Check out our new episodes every week. I promise we'll be back on track next week. Thanks, everyone.
Cookie, nom nom nom.